All right. Get ready to dive into numerology today, everybody.
Numerology.
We're going to be looking at excerpts from numerology with tantra, ayurveda, and astrology.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot, right?
Yeah.
We're going to unpack it. I love this stuff. Hidden meanings, ancient systems, always gets me going.
It's endlessly fascinating.
It is.
Yeah.
So before we get too far, for anyone who maybe hasn't taken the numerology plunge yet, can you give us like a quick elevator pitch? What is it really about?
Well, it's not just fortune telling.
Right.
It's more about understanding that energetic blueprint you're born with. It's almost like, a cosmic instruction manual, right?
Okay, cosmic instruction manual. I like that. Where do we even begin to decipher that?
Well, like any instruction manual, you got to understand the language. And the language of numerology, you guessed it, numbers.
The numbers.
Yeah, but not just any numbers. Your psychic number, destiny number, and name number. These are key.
Okay, so 3 main numbers to like unlock the mysteries of myself. Seems almost easy. What can we actually glean from these numbers that we don't already know?
They provide a really unique lens to view your life through. Each number, it vibrates with a very specific energy that influences your personality, your strengths, weaknesses, how you interact with others, all of it.
Okay, so let's break those down one by one. Where do we even start?
Let's start with your psychic number.
Okay.
It's derived from your birth date, and it's the most influential number in your early life. Really shapes how you see yourself, how you see the world, all those early perceptions.
So that's like the bedrock of your numerological makeup. And then what about the other two?
So then you've got your destiny number.
Mm-hmm.
That's calculated using your full birth name, and that gives you insight into your purpose, what you're meant to achieve in this lifetime.
Okay, so psychic number, the foundation, destiny number, the blueprint for the building.
I like that.
What about name number?
So the name number, it's interesting. It's derived from your name, just like the destiny number, but it's less about that grand purpose and more about your outward personality, how other people perceive you.
Okay, so this kind of reminds me a little bit of astrology. How similar or different are they? Do they use birthdays the same way? Planetary influences?
They definitely complement each other.
Oh.
Both offer unique perspectives, but numerology focuses on that vibrational essence of numbers, while astrology looks at the position of celestial bodies at the moment of your birth. So it's sort of like numerology zooms in on the individual's energy signature, and astrology gives us the cosmic backdrop.
Okay, the cosmic backdrop versus the close-up.
Exactly.
Now, our source material also mentions something called the Vedic square, which sounds pretty intense. Can you break that down for us?
Yeah, it's a visualization tool in numerology. It's essentially a grid where each number, 1 through 9, creates its own unique pattern when multiplied. And it helps to illustrate that cyclical nature of numerology.
Okay, I'm going to need a little more on that. Cyclical how?
So if you keep adding 9 to any number, it doesn't actually change the base number. It just cycles through the same sequence. So it's visually representing that idea that everything's connected and constantly evolving.
That's cool. So we've got our 3 main numbers, this Vedic square, showing us how they connect. But like, where do the meanings come in? What's a 1? What's a 7?
That's where we really unpack the individual energies.
Okay.
So numbers 1 through 9, they each have unique traits, challenges, and they're all connected to a planet that influences their energy.
Let's get into it. Number 1, hit me with it. What's the deal with those folks?
Number 1s are ruled by the sun.
Okay.
And just like the sun, they tend to radiate confidence, natural leaders. They're ambitious, independent, driven to succeed, real go-getters.
Yeah, that makes sense. The sun, vitality, strength. But, every coin has 2 sides, right? What are some of those potential pitfalls for our number 1 friends?
You're right. Because they are so strong-willed and determined, they can struggle with flexibility, compromise.
Okay.
And sometimes that drive can lead to pride or stubbornness.
So finding that balance is key. What are some things that number 1s can do to, like, work with that powerful sun energy?
Well, our source suggests specific remedies for each number.
Oh, interesting.
Fasting on Sundays is thought to restore balance for number 1s. And incorporating foods like garlic, ginger things with heat, can enhance their natural vitality.
It's like you're taking in the energy of the planet almost.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not just about knowing your number, it's how to work with that energy.
Absolutely.
Makes a lot of sense. What about number 2s? What makes them tick?
Number 2s are ruled by the moon.
Okay.
So they're incredibly intuitive, deeply in tune with their own emotions and the emotions of others.
Oh, so they're like the ones you go to for advice.
Yes.
Good shoulder to cry on, very in touch with their feelings, probably very empathetic to others.
Exactly.
But just like the moon, I'm guessing there's more to it than meets the eye,
Oh,
right?
for sure.
What are some of the things that number twos might find challenging?
So just as the moon waxes and wanes, number twos experience a lot of emotional fluctuations.
Okay.
They might be prone to mood swings, overthinking, self-doubt.
Yeah, makes sense. So how can they ride those, like, choppy emotional waters a little more smoothly?
Connecting with the element of water can be really soothing for them, whether that's swimming, taking a bath, or just spending time by a lake or the ocean, anything. Cultivating a strong support system is key for them too.
Finding their people, finding their place of peace. Good advice. Okay, now I'm curious about number threes. What's their vibe?
Threes are ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion, luck, and abundance.
Oh, abundance.
Yes, they tend to be optimistic, sociable, naturally gifted communicators.
Oh, they sound fun.
A lot of fun.
Always the life of the party. What about, though, when it comes to things that require a little more focus, a little more discipline? Because Jupiter's expansive, right? It can go all over the place.
You're absolutely right. And that's where things can get tricky because that desire for new experiences can lead to impulsivity
Okay.
or lack of focus. They might jump from one thing to the next without seeing things through.
So how can they channel all that Jupiter energy in a way that works for them instead of against them?
Mindfulness practices like meditation or yoga can work wonders.
Okay.
It's about them learning to harness that boundless energy and direct it with intention.
Find that focus.
Yeah.
Okay, moving right along. Number fours, what sets them apart?
Number fours are an interesting bunch.
Okay.
They're ruled by Rahu, the north node of the moon,
Oh, okay.
and they tend to be rebellious, unconventional thinkers, really good at disrupting the status quo.
Oh, the rule breakers, gotta love them.
Yeah.
But again, that kind of energy can be a double-edged sword. How do they walk that line?
Yeah, because while their independent nature is a strength, it can also make them appear unpredictable or abrasive.
Okay.
They're not afraid to challenge the norm.
So how do they balance staying true to themselves while building those strong connections with others?
Learning to communicate their ideas, maybe a bit more diplomatically practicing patience.
Yeah.
It's really about channeling that rebellious energy constructively.
Constructively. Okay. Love it. All right. Let's talk about number fives. Who are they ruled by?
Number five's Mercury, the planet of communication and intellect.
Okay, so we're talking quick-witted, fast-talking, always on the go.
Always on the go, yes. Adaptable, curious, thrive on mental stimulation. They're the quintessential lifelong learners of the numerology world.
I feel like I would get along with a five.
Yes, you would.
Love a good conversation, always up for learning new things. But with all that mental energy, how do they ever slow down?
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
Because their minds are always buzzing. They can be prone to anxiety, restlessness. Quiet moments can feel like torture.
So finding those moments of peace without the brain going into overdrive, what helps?
Grounding practices are essential for them. Spending time in nature, gardening, even something as simple as walking barefoot on the grass
Okay.
and engaging in creative pursuits can work wonders too.
Great advice. What about number sixes? Who are they ruled by?
Sixes are ruled by Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and harmony.
Ah, so we're talking about the romantics, the aesthetes, those who appreciate the finer things in life.
Absolutely. They're drawn to art, music, surrounding themselves with beauty. They really value that deep connection in relationships and strive to create harmony wherever they go.
Oh, they sound lovely to be around.
They are.
They must have their challenges too, though. What are some things that sixes...
Because they are so harmony-driven, they want to please the people around them.
Right.
They can sometimes be too accommodating
Oh, okay.
to the point where their own needs get put on the back burner.
So learning to set those healthy boundaries is probably a big one.
Yes, definitely. Cultivating self-love and prioritizing their own well-being is crucial.
Solid advice. Okay, moving on to the more mystical number sevens.
Yes.
Who are they ruled by?
They're ruled by the enigmatic Ketu, the south node of the moon.
Ooh, Ketu sounds like a character. Okay, what kind of energy does Ketu bring to the table for our sevens?
So Ketu is all about spirituality, intuition, and a deep connection to the subconscious. It's about seeking truth beyond the material world. So sevens often possess this very rich inner world. They're drawn to life's big mysteries.
The deep thinkers. What are some of the strengths that come with that introspective nature?
Sevens are incredibly insightful. They're compassionate. They have this natural ability to understand others,
Oh, wow.
and they're fantastic listeners and always willing to lend a helping hand.
They sound like gems. But that introspective nature's got to come with some challenges too, right?
It does. Sometimes that introspection can lead to being overly self-critical
Oh, yeah.
or withdrawing from the world.
So how do they embrace that introspective side without totally disconnecting?
It's about finding those healthy outlets for their emotions. Journaling, creative expression, spending time in nature. It's important for them to remember they don't have to go through life's challenges alone.
That's a good reminder for everybody, really.
Totally.
Okay, let's move on to the ever-grounded number 8. What makes them tick?
Eights are ruled by Saturn, the planet of discipline, responsibility, and hard work.
Saturn, taskmaster of the zodiac, planet of structure, limitations.
Yes, exactly.
This should be interesting.
Number eights are known for their practicality, their strong work ethic, and their unwavering determination. They are not afraid of a challenge and are often drawn to positions of authority and leadership.
They sound like the people you want on your team when you need to get stuff done.
Absolutely.
But I imagine all that dedication to success probably has, its own set of challenges.
It does. Number eights can sometimes struggle to find that balance between their personal and professional lives.
Right.
They can be prone to workaholism, forget to prioritize self-care, downtime.
It's all about finding that sweet spot.
Exactly.
Ambition and well-being.
It's about setting those boundaries and creating space for joy and relaxation.
Great advice. Okay, last but not least, tell me everything about number 9s.
Number nines are a force to be reckoned with. Ruled by Mars, the planet of action, passion.
Ooh, Mars.
They are courageous, driven, and have a very strong sense of purpose.
The warrior planet. They must have an intensity about them.
They do. Nines are not afraid to speak their minds or fight for what they believe in. They're the change makers of numerology.
Natural-born leaders. But with that much Martian energy, gotta be a flip side.
There always is. Their fiery nature can lead to impulsivity or a short fuse.
Okay.
They might be quick to anger.
So learning to channel that inner warrior wisely.
Yes.
Okay. Now, we've talked a lot about these single-digit numbers. What happens when you have a double-digit number?
That's where compound numbers come in. Those are your numbers from 10 to 31, and they represent a blending of planetary influences.
So like someone born on the 15th, would that be a compound number? How are they different?
Exactly. They would add the 1 and the 5, making them a 6. But they're also influenced by the Sun and Mercury. So that adds another layer of complexity to their numerological profile.
Okay, so it's like you've got your base and then other planets are chiming in. Are there any compound numbers that like stand out from the crowd in terms of their traits or anything like that?
Absolutely. Our source actually highlights a few.
Okay.
Those born on the 15th often have a love for luxury, artistic inclinations. But they're also drawn to esoteric practices, which is kind of a fascinating combination.
It's really cool how all those planetary influences like weave together to create something unique. Are there any other like notable compound numbers that we should know about?
There are, and they're called master numbers 11, 13, and 22. And they're not reduced to a single digit like the other compound numbers. And these numbers, they carry a lot of power and often indicate a significant life purpose. But you know that saying, with great power
Comes great responsibility.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Master numbers often come with unique challenges that require a high level of self-awareness to navigate.
They're like the VIPs of the numerology world. High potential, but maybe a little higher maintenance.
They are fascinating to unpack.
I bet. We've talked about these individual numbers. Can you like apply numerology to shorter periods of time? Like, can you get a numerology reading for like the year ahead?
You absolutely can. It's called your year number, and it can reveal those themes and opportunities that might unfold for you during a specific year.
Okay, tell me more. How do you even calculate something like that?
It's actually pretty simple. You add your birth month and day to the current year, and then you reduce that number down to a single digit. That's your year number.
And what kind of insights would that give me? Like, give me an example.
Let's say your year number is a 2. Since 2 is ruled by the moon, it could be a year of heightened emotionality and intuition. You might find yourself drawn to relationships more or exploring real estate ventures.
That's so cool. It's like having this little sneak peek at the year's potential. Now, I've always wondered, can you use numerology to get insights into relationship compatibility? Like, will it tell me if I'm compatible with my partner or even just a friend?
Absolutely, it can. Numerology can really shed light on the dynamics at play in any relationship.
So how does that work? Do you just compare, like, the two people's psychic numbers?
It's a little more nuanced than that.
Mm.
Numerologists use a specific chart to determine the interaction between two numbers,
Okay.
and it can help you to understand the strengths, weaknesses, even potential challenges within that pairing.
So it's like a secret decoder ring for relationships. I love it. What kind of information can you actually get from that kind of analysis?
Well, let's say you've got a psychic number 4 interacting with a psychic number 8. The chart would probably reveal some potential challenges and power struggles.
Okay.
Their approaches to life are quite different, which could lead to friction.
So it's not just about understanding yourself, it's about understanding how you connect with others as well.
Exactly. It's a tool for self-discovery and for navigating all those complexities of human relationships.
This is blowing my mind. I feel like I'm looking at myself and like the world through a whole new lens right now.
It's truly fascinating. And the more you explore numerology, the more you realize how interconnected we all are.
That's the beauty of it.
But we've covered a lot today, so maybe we should take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll delve into what you can actually do with all of this newfound knowledge.
I like it. Let's take a break. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground already. We've got our individual numbers, how they connect to planets, how they even play out in relationships. But what do we do with all of this? What's the practical application?
Right, knowing your numbers is just the beginning, right?
Yeah.
The real magic happens when you start to apply that knowledge.
So give me an example. How can understanding numerology actually help someone navigate like the real world?
Okay, so let's think back to that year number we talked about.
Okay.
Let's say you calculate your year number, and it comes out to be an 8, a year ruled by Saturn. Knowing that can be really powerful.
Okay, so like my year number is not an 8, but if it was, what kind of insights would help me like make the most of that?
An 8-year is often about hard work, discipline, building a solid foundation for the future.
Hmm.
So knowing that, you might choose to focus on your career goals, take on new responsibilities, or finally tackle those long-avoided tasks you've been putting off.
So it's not that an 8-year is good or bad. It's more about understanding that energy that's at play.
Exactly. It's about working with those natural cycles and rhythms rather than against them. And the same goes for understanding your core numbers.
So like if I know I'm a 2, for example, and that's ruled by the moon, then I can like anticipate those emotional ups and downs, maybe cut myself a little slack when I'm feeling extra sensitive.
Exactly. Or if you're a 5, all about mental stimulation, new experiences, you can lean into that energy by taking a class, traveling somewhere new, or even just like having more deep conversations with friends.
I'm starting to get it. So it's like numerology gives you this framework to understand your tendencies and then make choices that are in alignment with like your best self or something.
That's a great way to put it. It's about taking ownership of your energy and using it to your advantage.
This is so cool. I'm already feeling like I have all these new tools, like a whole new way of looking at myself. It's amazing.
That's what it's all about. And remember, this is just scratching the surface when it comes to numerology.
Really?
There's so much more out there.
I love it. That's what I love about these deep dives. Always leaves me wanting to learn more.
It's a lifelong journey, but even that little bit of knowledge can be so empowering.
I'm with you on that. Well, folks, it looks like we've reached the end of our numerology journey for today. But before we sign off, I want to leave you with this final thought. We've been decoding the language of numbers, but what's the big takeaway? How can we actually use this to, live better lives?
That is the question, isn't it? It's like, imagine having this roadmap. It could guide you through anything, highlights challenges, opportunities, all based on the energy of that moment. That's the potential here.
Like a cheat sheet for life, but you have to do the work, right?
Yeah. Right. It's not about predicting the future or anything. It's about understanding those natural rhythms, those cycles, and then you use that awareness to make better choices.
So knowledge is power, but it's that self-knowledge, right?
Absolutely. And remember, numerology, it's not a rule book. It's a framework. So as you learn more about your own numerology, you might find interpretations that just feel more true for you.
So you take what we've talked about, experiment, see what works.
Exactly. Pay attention in your relationships, your job, anything creative you do. The more you look for it, those little connections, they'll start popping up everywhere.
Like we're learning a new language, the language of numbers, and the more fluent we get,
Exactly.
the more we understand our own stories.
Beautifully said. So to everyone listening, go calculate those numbers, keep exploring, but most importantly, just see how it plays out in your life.
It's a journey, but it's one that can bring some serious aha moments. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
It's been my pleasure. Remember, everyone, that power of numbers, it's always been there. You just got to unlock it.